And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Open Connection. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsimshian people. Swift water rescue, also called whitewater rescue, is a subset of technical rescue dealing with whitewater river conditions. The main goal is to use or deflect the water's power to assist in the rescue of the endangered persons. As in most situations, there's no easy way to overcome the power of water. We open our archives to 1991 with Jim Segerstrom of Rescue 3 International.
What happens if you get into trouble on the river? Across the Northwest, people take to the rivers for fishing, boating, paddling, or just for a walk along the shore. What happens when something goes wrong? There are a handful of individuals who've been trained in swift water rescue, swift water, as opposed to the still waters of the lake environment.
We're going to take this low to high risk and we're going to do it simple to complicated.
That's Jim Segerstrom of Rescue 3 International, based in Sonora, California. He's an instructor and founding member of the organization. Rescue 3 got its start in the 1970s and has expanded to several countries in the world, teaching people how to first rescue themselves and then others.
I'm just foot trapped right now. So first thing we got to remember our cardinal rules. The first one is we've got to always have multiple backups downstream. Maybe this person's been out here fighting this for quite a while and getting more and more weaker and weaker. Maybe somebody pinned in a canoe, vertically pinned in a drop in a canoe. Maybe it's a full body entrapment on a log or something. But right now, first of all, just my feet. So the first thing we got to do is we got to get a rope across the river. So don't throw the whole throw bag, Carla, but just pitch the bag and hold on to the end to Terry over here. So she throws the throw bag to Terry. And if it's not long enough, we can clip a couple of throw bags together, okay? Now here I am, I'm pinned, so the next thing we got to do, Carl, is we got to get this rope over the top of my head. There you go. And get it as far down my body as you can. Sometimes you got to get down in the water.
The whole course, the whole 5 days, is a logical progression. We keep it very simple at the outset. We spend a lot of time practicing self-rescue, basic river rescue techniques using ropes and carabiners and pulleys, and then boat-based rescues, and then water contact rescues. And now we get more progressively more complicated, more rope system management stuff. It's a building block. The same knots that they were using day one, they're using here today. The progression is very obvious to them. They can see, how all these things fit together. And at the same time, we keep trying to present to them that this, what they originally surmised is something that might be easy isn't quite as easy as it looks. And all these things require a lot of ongoing practice.
So they practice, from simple to complicated. And they get more comfortable in the water as they learn what they can and cannot do. And when they need to get somewhere, well, they swim, of course. Segerstrom and fellow instructor Jim LaValle of Rescue 3 Canada from Vancouver first walk through each rescue scenario on the ground, then move it to the water. LaValle says being involved in a swiftwater rescue has some sobering statistics for the rescuer to consider.
Inherently, 50% of the people that drown involving a rescuer in a swiftwater accident is the rescuer. So it's a key thing that we want to make sure that the people that go into rescue have the skills and knowledge and are able to perform the rescues that they are attempting.
If 50% of the deaths in a rescue involve the rescuer, why do it? What's the motivation?
It's a community service with a lot of these guys, seeing a need. Volunteer firemen and volunteer search and rescue people, it's like some people belong to the Rotarians and some guys belong to search and rescue teams and volunteer firefighters. There's no doubt about it that there's a tremendous adrenaline jag. that goes with this, the lights and sirens and the excitement and getting in there and doing something that's significant and making a difference in people's lives. That has a lot to do with it. The satisfaction of being able to do something specialized that other people can't. All that comes into play with this stuff.
So just who are these people learning how to take care of those of us who end up where we shouldn't be, on or in the river?
The vast majority of the students that we train are agency-type people, search and rescue teams here. And about 60% of the people that we train are agencies, fire departments, police departments, military people, park rangers, who are trying to rescue people not just in river accidents but in flood situations as well. About 30% of the students that we train are professional whitewater people. A lot of places, not just in British Columbia but in the States, this certification is required for professional whitewater guides. So we have a large component of the training we do is for those people as well.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thank you for staying with us. Rescue 3 International was founded in 1979 after a California search and rescue team nearly lost one of its own during a water rescue. All of Rescue 3's instructors are professionals working in the disciplines they teach, providing students with practical, real-world experience. Let us return to the archives with Jim Segerstrom.
About 10% of the people that we teach are recreational boaters or just interested outdoor recreationalists that want to find out more about their personal safety before they get into whitewater rafting or something like that. And yes, the whole object of the exercise for the professionals who are here is to give them a better understanding of how to evaluate a river or flood rescue so that they don't endanger themselves. But it goes beyond that. A lot of it is preventative search and rescue, how to identify a situation which may turn into a rescue, to mitigate the hazard before it occurs, particularly for the professional boaters, to give them a better discerning eye for the commercial passenger, perhaps it shouldn't be going down the river, the overweight person, the person that's not in physical condition, that is the accident waiting for a place to happen, or how to tell the canoeist who may not have the appropriate equipment that maybe they shouldn't be going down the river that particular day.
Now just look at all this gear. The amount of personal gear an individual carries increases after a course like this one.
Swiftwater rescue is a very new discipline. That's the exciting thing about it. It changes very radically. The equipment, the technology, the research and development that not just Rescue 3 but other groups that we work with around North America through the Swiftwater Rescue Advisory Council. It's changing very quickly, and the equipment continues to improve, and the technology and the techniques improve. I know the guys that are here from 2 years ago are enjoying the new pieces of equipment and the new techniques, the new things that we're doing. And that's part of the program. They can come back and take this class. Once they do it the first time and get certified, they can take it as often as they want, and it doesn't cost them anything again.
Okay, we could dress this up even some more. We could have 4 more prusiks up here on the top. We could clip the prusiks from here to here, couldn't we? Yep.
So remember at the beginning, Segerstrom said they'd take this simple to complicated. Well, in this case, that's from shallow to high-angle rescue. Imagine someone stranded at the bottom of a steep canyon. Well, this rescue takes a little more time, lots of that gear, ropes and pulleys and harnesses, a desire to help someone in trouble, and just a little daring. But when all is said and done, they rise to the top, so to speak, with victim in hand, another successful rescue, even if this one's just practice. And significantly, without incident or injury to the participants.
We've had one injury out of 14,000 people through the Swiftwater 1 course. There's been one injury. A lady smunched her ankle last summer.
A distressed swimmer. They're neutrally or positively buoyant, and they're screaming for help. They're in a full state of panic, and the best place in the world that they want to be right at that moment is sitting right there. Okay, that's where they want to go. So what you have to do first of all is try to keep them away from you. You're going to swim down and get close enough to them where you can control them and talk to them. Reverse and ready. Get your feet up ahead of you, and use your feet to keep them away from you until you get them under control. okay? You're first and ready. If it looks like they're going to grab a hold of you, at that point, anything is fair.
Just one final comment on who gets into trouble and needs people like these to try to make it right. Sometimes it's just bad luck and circumstance, but often it's people getting on the river when they know nothing about it.
Oh, absolutely. People that don't have a real good understanding about the risks that they're getting into, what the risks are. It looks fairly benign. The water's up and it's a hot day. Let's put the cheap boat in the river and float away and tie a six-pack of beer to our ankles with the clothesline. That particular attitude is very prevalent, not just in the States, but you see that here too. I mean, there have been a couple of river rescues here just in the last couple of weeks in British Columbia. One just the other day in Vernon, I believe, with a kid stuck in a creek. People really do truly believe that they can do anything they want, any place they want, and they'll be okay. And if they get into trouble, that the rescue team is going to come and save them. And that's probably unrealistic.
Just time-wise, if nothing else, even if the intentions are good.
Right, absolutely. Not just the fact that the water is extremely cold. The cold water and alcohol on a nice warm day is almost a killer formula. Half the people who drown are drunk when they drown.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Open Connection. The Accessibility Doctorate focuses on improving accessibility for people with disabilities. Located within the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Health, the doctorate works across government and with disability and business communities. Let us return to the archives with Program Director Luann Jeffries.
With the deinstitutionalization, which occurred approximately 10 years ago, we found that more children and adults were remaining in their local communities, and therefore, in order to assist the families in caring for their children, Respite was formed to give the parents a break and to be able to keep them in their homes, but at the same time to have the needed rest so they can provide a better quality service for their child. I think the most important thing to know is that there's a lot of warmth and care given to the children by our staff, that it's a typical home setting, we're not an institution, and that their child will be looked after to the utmost.
And it's for parents who need a break from parenting their special needs child. And this is sort of seen as a home away from home, a temporary home. Parents tend to use this home on average of about 4 days a month.
The life of a family with mentally or physically handicapped children can be arduous. So when a family unit has learned to deal with that situation, there can be a difficult transition when children are cared for elsewhere. Apprehension is natural, but Respite Home seems to have provided a solution for the problem.
When you have a handicapped child, the problem is you need someone that's responsible to be able to take care of that child. And if there's medication involved or proper handling, you just need something like the respite home that can take care of it.
Well, the parents can drop by any time to see their child. They can spend an entire day here with the child if they need to, just to sort of dispel their fears or apprehensions. Most parents feel comfortable because they know the staff, they know the other kids that live in the home, and in the beginning, should they not know the staff or the kids, they can feel free to spend as much time here as they need.
Family emergencies, a planned holiday, a doctor's appointment, a friendly visit, or even a short shopping trip. Parents have accessed the service for the aforementioned reasons and many more over the years. The facility is unique, and its success can be measured only by those who use it.
It's like a home. It's special. It's cheerful. It fits into the community well. There's regular toys to what they would be used to at home. There's outside toys, there's playgrounds, there's caring people.
The ministry believes that it's very important to maintain the integrity of any family, and we view that families that do parent special needs children do have many challenges ahead of them. And so we see this Respite home as providing a very valuable break for families with special needs children, and parents do use it quite often.
For a lot of people, it's a lifesaver. It just gives them that little bit of time to sleep when they need to sleep, so when the child comes home, they're rested. They get well fed, they go on outings, and the parents really seem to like their kids to be out in the community.
Respite Home is available to all Northwest residents who need a temporary facility for mentally or physically handicapped children or adolescents. The service has been and remains community-oriented. It is in fact the desire of Respite Home to blend itself within the framework of the area it serves.
Definitely, definitely so. We want to blend in with the community, and the children aren't pointed out as having special needs. We go to regular activities, and it's a home. The children just have a special need. There's no set parameters. The length of stay, it depends on the need of the child and the need of the family. It can range from 1 day to a month. Some people choose to use the home when they're going on vacation. Some people choose to use it every weekend or 1 weekend a month just to give them that necessary break.
As the 1990s progress into the next century, the demands for different types of care facilities will undoubtedly increase. It is with that knowledge, Respite looks ahead to a very busy future.
We know that there is a need for this home in the community. It's just a matter of letting those people know that we do have the service for them. With no admittance to the institutions any longer, this home and the need for a home like this is only going to increase in the 90s.
I would recommend it very strongly. Why? Because as a parent, it gives you the peace of mind. When your child's in here, you don't have to worry, and it gives you time for your other children, and it gives you time for your husband. And yes, I recommend it very strongly.
Open Connection will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK-TV studios, this is Open Connection with your host, Robert Pictou.
Before marsh pegs came along, Kitimat, along with other small-town rinks worldwide, were freezing hockey nets directly to the ice surface. A wobbly atom or a high-flying midget would be met with an immovable object if they went sliding into the post. In his final segment of Open Connection, Fred Marsh shares why he invented what is now known as the marsh peg.
The bottom portion of the net on the ordinary.
And this past summer, Fred Marsh became the second Kitimat resident to make it into the National Hockey League. Mark Fitzpatrick is a goaltender with the Islanders. Fred's invention, the Marsh peg, is holding Fitzpatrick's best friend in place.
Well, the NHL wanted me involved in the installation of the flexible peg in all the NHL arenas. I did not deal directly with the general managers. I dealt with the arena personnel, and a lot of the arena personnel were a little upset that they had to go to this system. The reasons behind that is that last year they moved the net out a foot from the boards, and they had to install new inserts in the floor. The inserts that they installed would not accommodate my peg, so consequently we had to change all the inserts in all the NHL arenas. There was a few that caused more problems than others. In your floor you have brine lines running the length of the arena, and you have to put these inserts. They go down 4 inches deep, and you have to miss the brine lines, and there were some problems. Some of the lines had to be relocated, and it wasn't easy.
Marsh has spent more than 40 years involved with the sport he loves. He was a referee in the Western Hockey League for 5 years and spent some time officiating in the Saskatchewan Senior Hockey League. The Marsh peg was first used in the WHL back in 1988. Then Saskatchewan Place in Saskatoon used them the following year in the Memorial Cup.
Well, they worked so well that after the 1989 Memorial Cup, the Western Hockey League adopted a rule that the teams must switched to my system, and half of them are there now, and I expect the other half will be coming next year.
The following year, the Marsh Pegs were holding down the nets behind the world's best junior goalies during the World Junior Championships.
I didn't keep stats on the Memorial Cup, but I was back in this year for the World Junior, and in 13 games, the nets were off a total of 7 times.
Now, the National Hockey League had to do something about their problems with the magnets. The cry for help was heard far and wide. The Marsh Pegs came into the forefront with their performance in the Canada Cup.
Yeah, I was back there for the Canada Cup in late August, early September, and went to the games, and the Pegs performed the way they're supposed to. The nets were off for, I believe it was an average of less than 2 times per game.
The Marsh Pegs in the Western League, and now the NHL. What about future expansion?
Well, I have started installing them the International Hockey League. I have 6 locations that are going to be using them this year. The American Hockey League, they've left it a little late to install them this year, but they made it optional with the teams this year that they can change this year, but if they don't next year, everybody has to change to the Marsh Flexible Peg.
Mark Fitzpatrick is one of Marsh's biggest fans. He had this reaction to the Marsh Pegs' rookie year in the NHL.
Well, it's certainly better for the goaltenders, you know. I think every goalie in the NHL was pretty happy when they heard about that they're going to change to Fred Marsh's pegs. These magnets that they had, it was getting to a point where it just seemed like every player that would cut off the wing, or they just kept their head down, they just ran right through the goalie and right through the net because they knew nothing was going to happen to them, but, you know, the net was going to come off, and chances are that they weren't going to get injured, but I'm sure the players are going to think twice right now before they start charging to the net and start banging into the goalies.
But not all goaltenders share Mark's feelings. Take, for instance, Andy Moog and his play in Game 7 of the Adams final last year. And when Rangers goalie Greg Millen was asked about the Marsh Pegs, he was quoted as saying, "There's got to be a way to get it off. I'll find it." And while Fred Marsh is well known in the arenas around North America for his pegs, he has also redesigned the nets.
Well, when I did the peg, I also looked at the hockey net and realized at that time that there was a lot of injuries behind the net. So I decreased the size bottom portion of the net to get the extra room behind the net. This was also in 1985. And also cut down the side portions that give more room also on the sides. This was, to me, the way to go. Later last year, the NHL moved their nets a head a foot to accomplish the same thing. It's on the bottom of the net, on the base portion. Going around, you have the normal nets just have pipe, which you only have maybe 1/8 of an inch in contact with your ice all the way around. On mine, I have an angle iron, and it's a full 2 inches wide, so you have 2 inches all the way around, which gives you a more stable net than the ordinary pipe. What I did was narrow.
So what did drive this quiet man to create a new peg or redesign the hockey net?
Hockey has been my life, arenas have been my life. I've been in the business for a long time, and I'm just happy that I can contribute.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Open Connection. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.